63, the 7th of September, Musiikkitalo Helsinki. Live on Cage PPV at cage.fi.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the sunny beach of Helsinki, Finland, where Cage 62 is going down. My name is Sebastian Vettel-Martinez, calling this sand-filled action alongside Aleksi the Giant Toivonen. And Aleksi, what can we say about the atmosphere here at Biitsi Tripla? Because I didn't actually know that Finland had a beach for all seasons.
Yeah, well, if you have a long winter like this one has been, you can't go to the beach outside, we'll build a beach inside.
I mean, I gotta love that Finnish ingenuity. And what a way to kick off this event here with 3 top-notch amateur bouts. First, we welcome in Viktor Kiulafly. And they say that fortune favors the bold, right? And this is a guy who's coming in here on short notice. And he's coming in here hungry, an all-round fighter, willing to take risks and facing a very hyped prospect in Henri Pyyny. And honestly, not a whole lot is known about Viktor Kiulafly. He's coming in on just a few days' notice, but we've seen time and time again fighters that come into the cage on short notice were perhaps not expected to deliver big things, but then that is exactly when stars are made, when fighters dig deep to prove the doubters wrong and to prove that they belong here in the top. We can see here the keys to victory is very aggressive, solid all around, and hungry for victory. And like I said, we've seen time and time again, fighters coming on short notice. You think that, you count them out, but you can never do that in MMA.
And Viktor is coming out of Tokon MMA from Estonia, which is one of the top camps in the country. They have a lot of really good prospects, national team members. So I'm really excited to see what kind of fight Viktor puts on tonight.
Хранят свободу и родство, сеют мир в буджакской степи на равнинах и мечом своим наказывают зло.
Ladies and gentlemen, to the red corner, Henri Pyyny.
And here we have the opposition, Henri Pyyny, a guy with a 100% finishing rate. Now, admittedly, he is just 2-0, but it still says something because it is harder to get those finishes in the amateur leagues. Smaller gloves, shorter rounds. So I think that he has 2-0, both by finishes, really speaks to not just his talent, but his eagerness and his willingness to take risks inside the cage. He's a Finnish wrestling champion, and he was supposed to fight Tufan Amati, but like a true future champ, Pyyny, he was just up for any possible opposition. So when they said, well, we got this guy coming in here from Estonia, Pyyny was basically just game for it. As we can see here, he's got a strong takedown game, physically strong as well, and as I mentioned, a submission threat. Yeah. Aleksi, what do you got to add to that?
If you think about, like, he was supposed to face the reigning Nordic champion, the reigning national champion in his weight class, and he's only 2-0, so he was ready to take on that challenge. And when I talked with his coach, Matias Pahto, from Oulu, he was like, yeah, Pyyny is ready for it. Even though he's young, inexperienced in mixed martial arts, it was like he's ready for that level. He's ready for that top Nordic level amateur bout. And I think this offers a great opportunity to showcase his skill set.
Yeah, I see there are some pretty similar stats, although aside from that reach, wow, that is a pretty noticeable reach advantage. Very interesting to see how that will come into play, and experience advantage resides with Kiulafly as well. That being said, I think it's time to hit it off with the official and final introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the blue corner, an Estonian fighter with an amateur record of 4 wins and 4 losses, weighing 62 kilos, fighting out of Tallinn, Estonia, Viktor Kiulafly. In the red corner, Oulu-based Finnish fighter with an amateur record of 2 wins and no losses. Weighing 61.5 kilos, Henri, Pyyny!
How about that pop for the Finnish fighter? And he's got some great company in his corner as well. Got Sami Brenfos, who should be no stranger to those who are familiar with the Finnish amateur scene. A great way to kick things off here, the 62-kilogram catch weight bout. Viktor Kiulafly of Estonia in the blue corner, and Henri Pyyny of Finland in the red. The atmosphere in here is something else. You can really smell the margaritas here on the sand. All right, here we go. First round commencing. Pyyny with a quick swing and a miss with that leg kick. And neither fighter, of course, being able to do a whole lot of specific preparation on account of the short notice nature of his fight.
Yeah, even though usually people think when there's a short notice fight that it's a big change or a big change only for the one stepping up to the, like coming on, like here, Viktor coming on 2 days notice, but it's also the athlete that has prepared for a certain kind of opponent previously, like here, Pyyny to Tufan Ahmadi, so he also faces completely different kind of opposition on just 2 days notice. So it's a big change for both athletes.
I think one thing you said that really stands out as very correct, a completely different opponent, because Tufan Ahmadi has a very particular set of skills. I mean, he is very wrestling heavy, tends to lean on that, and I'm sure that's something that Pyyny was preparing for. But whoa, a big left hand connects there as he changes levels. I like the way that he's dipping low and then coming up with that hook. He's landed it, I think, twice or maybe even 3 times so far.
Yeah, if you look at the Pyyny's previous fights, he is mostly known as grappler. So I think that kind of, when he drops his level, he's kind of feinting for a takedown in a sense. So you kind of think he's going to go to my legs, you drop the hands a little bit, and he comes over the top with the overhand.
An interesting little turn of events there, as it looked almost like he dropped Kiulafly, but I think it was more of a balance issue. But despite that, the Estonian getting top position here, inside control.
Maybe Pyyny got a little bit too aggressive at that exchange, and kind of like, even though Kiulafly lost his balance, he was still there and able to get the top position. But great work getting back to his feet by Henri Pyyny.
A lot of people very sold on this young man, Pyyny. Very hyped prospect so far, living up to that hype. Looking very solid against an opponent who is noticeably larger.
Yeah, Pyyny is a natural flyweight even at amateur ranks, and he's strong and big, so he can like for that division, so he can compete at bantamweight as an amateur too. But Kiulafly is definitely a real bantamweight. But he can make 62 kilos, like pretty close to the actual limit on 2 days notice.
I'm loving the offense here from Pyyny. He's really sort of putting Kiulafly in a defensive shell.
Yeah, he's throwing heavy. Like it looks like he's trying to damage Viktor with every single punch.
Yeah, and now they're on the canvas. Not a whole lot of time to work though. But oh, looks like he's got a.
He might be looking for a Darce choke.
Yeah. Not enough time to get it locked down, but a great first round for a hometown fighter, Pyyny. Take a look at some of those highlights. Great job there, ducking under and then landing that left hook as he comes back up. And there again, changes levels, dodges, he strike him his way, and then follows up with that knee as well. Just a solid combination there. Credit to Kiulafly for managing to get the top position, although it was quite brief.
But I like that dipping and weaving head movement of Pyyny.
Yeah.
Like going down, coming back up with the strike, going down again, coming back up with another one.
And on account of his grappling credentials, it's a very smart move. Because changing levels like that, it does open the door for several different avenues. He could go up and strike again, as he has done a couple times so far, or he could just commit to it and go for the takedown.
Yeah, we'll see. I was expecting for him to look for that strong grappling, but I think he might have surprised Kiulafly in round one with those power punches. But that's one of the things, like there is not a lot of footage on either one of these athletes, so it's kind of, you have to prepare for everything.
And you think that on paper, with the brief time that he did have to prepare, I'm quite sure that Kiulafly's team were probably expecting a more grappling-heavy approach from Pyyny. But now look at that, he's starting to find his own rhythm and distance on the feet, is Kiulafly, but just as I say that, he gets caught.
But it's the same thing. You can see him reacting. When Pyyny dips down, he's kind of reacting as if Pyyny's going to go for the takedown. And then he comes back up with the strike.
Yeah.
And so far, I think Kiulafly, even though he's landed excellent strikes of his own, he still hasn't found a proper answer for that attack.
Yeah, that's a good point there, Alexei. Oh, another nice right hand and a left hand and then a right hand follows from Pyyny. And I wonder if perhaps this approach from Pyyny has caught Kiulafly off guard. And look at that, a possible submission, but let's go.
But that shows you the danger. Like the little outbalancing hand is immediately going for the neck, like trying to get that grip. Great movement. That was beautiful.
Takes it back.
Outbalancing with the single leg, go behind, and immediately taking the back.
Both hooks in and over a minute to work with.
And Pyyny is trying to flatten out Kiulafly, but actually this is a good move by Kiulafly, like to turn a little bit, so even though Pyyny is in his back and he's definitely losing this position and end the round, but still, like, at least he didn't get flattened out. Now Pyyny has one arm underneath the chin, and you can finish this even though you don't have hand connection. If he can walk his hand behind Kiulafly's shoulder, he can still apply a lot of pressure with just one hand.
That's a good point. Looks like that threat has diminished, but the question is for how long. And right now, the saving grace for Kiulafly is the fact that he is holding on to Pyyny's right arm. That is basically what's saving him right now, because that left hand of his was as under the chin as it could get. Smart move there, opens up, ends up in full mouth instead, and lets those shots rain down. Spins around, another rear naked choke attempt.
Close, that was underneath the chin.
Yeah.
In the end. Saved by the bell. But great round from Henri Pyyny. I think he landed the better shot standing, and then excellent, showed his grappling prowess. And like I said, remember, he's only 2-0 so far.
He doesn't fight like it.
Exactly, this is his third amateur fight. So
that's very impressive.
Yeah, he can go far. He can go far. Just based on these 2 rounds.
Oh, absolutely. And that's, you know, despite the fact that this was the strongest round so far from Kiulafly as well, but it was still also the strongest round for Pyyny.
Yeah. And it's a great opportunity because, like I said, Pyyny he fights at flyweight and bantamweight as an amateur, and at the moment, those divisions are not the largest ones in Finnish MMA. So I think these kind of opportunities, like to fight, let's say Estonian or Swedish opponents, they give, or even like for Nordic, like Estonian or Swedish flyweights, it gives them the opportunity to showcase their skills. Like, because it's still those athletes, even though they don't get as many opportunities to show their talent, like welterweights, for example, at the moment. There is still talent in that division. So I think that's why it's great that we have the opportunity to see these smaller guys, smaller amateurs compete here at Cage.
Absolutely. And Alexi, it's been a tough fight so far for Kiulafly. What does he need to do to pull a rabbit out of the hat and get a victory here?
I think he needs to counter the dip. Like now he's overreacting every single time Pyyny is dropping down. So he's dropping his base, but he needs to start when Pyyny drops his base. He needs to attack, like try to counter that, like kill that movement. Because now Pyyny's offense is based on that. Like he's dipping. He's either going for the takedown or he's trying to go for an overhand. So counter that movement and kill his A game, so forth. So at least you can break the rhythm of the fight.
And he kind of did try to do that by catching the kick, but he finds himself and he's standing guillotine now. But nice job, gets out of it. I think Kiulafly, he needs to put his foot on the gas. I mean, he's down 2 rounds. There's no doubt about it. So there's not a whole lot more to lose. But oh, he got clipped.
You see, again, he dips. He dips. If Kiulafly wants to have success, he needs to counterattack the dip. Like, but easier said than done.
Yeah. And I really think that Kiulafly was caught off guard by how much of a striking approach Pyyny is taking here. I'm sure that when we looked on paper, we're like, okay, it's takedown defense, right? Yeah, I really do think that he was caught very off guard by the game plan here. Oh, he looked almost a little shaken there, the way that he moved.
Yeah, but still great reaction by Pyyny immediately when Kiulafly, even though he was a bit outbalanced pushing forward, still great reactive takedown defense from the Finn.
Just over a minute left in our third and final round.
And dropping for a double leg. Looking to wrap up the legs.
Nice job there by Kiulafly. Gets a reversal, but I mean, they're scrambling like a couple eggs on a breakfast right now.
Oh, Kiulafly is looking for an arm lock here.
Oh, yeah.
He's looking for an Americano with the legs from the scarf hold.
Oh,
that's tight.
That does look very tight, actually.
But great job by Pyyny walking off the cage. That was a great escape, honestly, because that was tight.
Yeah, that honestly looked like we were going to see an upset just at the end of things there.
But you can see, even though Viktor came here with just 2 days' notice, he's game, you know?
Absolutely.
Like even though he has lost the majority of this bout, he's taken the heavier shots, lost most of the grappling exchanges, still looking, even on the last like 30 seconds, he's still trying to hunt for that finish. Yeah. A great fight to start out the night.
Absolutely. Very, very high level from both fighters, but Henri Pyyny really proving himself to be everything that he's been hyped up to so far. Gets a completely different opponent on short notice, but still puts on an absolute clinic both on the feet and on the canvas. Credit to Kiulafly for coming here on short notice against such a high prospect. And I did like the fact that he didn't just settle for riding out the third round, that he did try a little bit of offense of his own and honestly seemed to come close as well. In the end, it wasn't quite enough. But A for effort. And again, there's those dips. And here we had that sort of modified Americano with a leg.
Yeah, that honestly took a bit of shoulder dexterity from Pyyny to be able to hold on to that, and great way walking up the cage to kind of relieve the pressure.
Yeah.
So if that would have been, say, 1 meter closer to the center, that escape would have not been available. So a great escape, great fight from both athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. Judges' scores being collected here. The body language of the fighters does kind of tell a bit of a story, but of course you gotta make it official as well. Not surprised we have some fans with sunglasses on. I mean, we are on the beach after all. All right, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 full rounds, we have the judges' decision. Winner by unanimous decision, Henri Pyyny!
No surprise there. Henri Pyyny gets a unanimous decision after 3 very strong rounds. Escaped that late submission attempt and remains perfect at 3-0 now. And Alexei, I'd say the future looks pretty bright.
I agree. We need to find more similar kind of matchup for Pyyny and see more of this young man here inside the cage.
Henri, onneksi olkoon, hieno voitto.
Kiitos paljon.
Ainakin omaan silmään näytti, että tuolla hyvällä liikkeellä tuossa pystyottelussa niin tienasit aika hyviä osumia sinne vastustajan päätyyn.
Joo, eli suunnitelma oli vähän, että hyvällä liikkeellä lähtee katsomaan mitä kaveri tekee ja löytyi ne maneerit sieltä, niin pystyi hyödyntämään niitä.
Siellä oli omat vaarapaikkansa matossa ja muualla, mutta tuntuiko, että tilanne oli hallinnassa koko ajan?
Kyllä se oli ainakin jotenkin hallinnassa, että ainakin oli joku idea, että miten sitä pääsee pois.
Onneksi olkoon, hieno voitto.
Kiitos paljon ja sen verran vielä haluan sanoa, että kiitos Keitsille, että pystyy järjestämään tätä matsit ja ei ollut mikään helppo homma ja ei tullut pienentyn kautta, niin kiitos Keitsille ja kiitos yleisö teille kaikille.
Henri Pyyny!
Alexei, what can you tell us about the winner interview there? What did Pyyny have to say?
Pyyny said that the game plan was just, there was a short notice change, that the game plan was to look a little bit what the opponent brings, what Viktor brings to the table, and then impose his own game plan, which he was successful at. And then in the end he thanked Cage for finding him a short notice replacement after there was actually a few fallouts last week trying to find an opponent for him. So, but got in the cage, got the job done. Well done, Henri Pyyny.
Cage 63, the 7th of September, Musiikkitalo Helsinki. Live on Cage PPV at cage.fi.